war, but we have not sent them forcibly back. So it raises a lot of question marks about India's secularism. Right. But we have to say that. So, but there is now, we have to balance both. The India's traditional, as I told you, the respect for India comes because of the unique traditions what we have followed. So India is not one of the countries which is following religious based persecution where everybody can live. That's what our constitutional guarantees are. That's why we have an independent judiciary which always tries to promote this kind of a unity in diversity concept. So we have to identify that cannot be a complete ban on Rohingyas. So, but if anybody, so Rohingyas himself say that we don't have pani nahi hai, pani. नहीं मेरा टेबल में होगा ना मेरा पानी. So we have to, if there is any specific input that some Rohingyas in India are supporting terror groups, then they can be identified and deported. But otherwise we should not. But at the same time the key factor is we must have a proper policy. The government should come up with a proper policy to decide it. It is now decided on an ad hoc basis. That is not correct. Either India should adhere to the global conventions or should come up with our own policy. So that will be helpful in the future, whether to deport few people or that. So it's again very difficult to deport also forcibly. So initially Bangladesh was refusing, now they are also allowing because it's a humanitarian situation. So we have to balance because it is not the same case like in the olden time like Jews and Parsis etc. Security threat is a global threat right now. So therefore we should be careful in admitting the refugees, but for that we must have a clear-cut policy. So we blah 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 only. We cannot take a complete stand against the government in any of the answers.
So mass Hindu killing और वो retaliation
कहाँ? कहाँ? म्यांमार में कहाँ हिंदूस कहाँ है?
There were some reports about mass graves of Hindus being found by Myanmar.
Mass graves. See, some of the Rohingyas are also Hindus. Right, that is the thing what they are talking about. Some villages, majority of them, see, is one mistake we always make. Rohingya as a group, it is not Muslim. Like Arabs, there are Christians are also there. Arabs mein animist bhi hai. Arabs mein atheist bhi hai. Not all Arabs are Muslims. So the same thing, Rohingyas are also diverse. Majority, a vast majority, more than 90% of them are Muslims. That is all. So this, see, even if they are called as Bengalis, there are Hindu Bengalis also in Bangladesh. 12% of Bangladesh is Hindu. There are 30% of West Bengal population is Muslim. So we cannot, Rohingyas are a group, that's all. So that should not affect us. India should not be a spokesperson of all the Hindus of the world. India is a secular country, as simple as that. India should stand up for human rights wherever it is violated. That's all. We should not take up the grudges on the basis of that. Yes, as a thing, we can take up the issue of religious minorities in all the countries. That is a common thing. But we cannot say we are a Hindu. India is not a Hindu country by anywhere in the constitution, right? And secularism, as the Supreme Court has said, secularism is a basic structure of the constitution. That cannot be taken away. So if that is the case, then we have to allow, then Pakistan can be the spokesperson of Muslims in India. If India is a spokesperson of Hindus in any other country, in Bangladesh and Pakistan, then the same logic applies. Pakistan can also interfere in India's internal affairs. So therefore, India should not take up the issue, anything on the religious matter, but on a human rights issue when persecution causes migration to India. Therefore, it affects India also. When migration comes from Pakistan or Bangladesh or Myanmar, it affects India, both economically and sometimes security-wise also there. Because we can't find out each and every person antecedent. Right. So in such a situation, it is better not to take a risk and deport everyone. So who will become a jihadi? Who knows? No idea. So intelligence cannot find out about each and every person there who has come from, whether it is radicalized or not. They may bolenge मैं नहीं हूँ. कैसा उसको find out करना मुश्किल है. Right. So we have to blah 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 find a balance between humanitarian issues and security issues. But we should not take up the issue only because of it is Hindus. See, Myanmar government thinks that if you rake up the issue of Hindus, then Muslims have killed Hindus and all those things, etc. So Burmese who dominate the politics like Aung San Suu Kyi and military, all of them are Buddhists. Right? There are some Hindus living still in Rangoon because there are a lot of Indians who are living there till World War II. During Japanese occupation, many of the people there, but still there is a thriving Indian community which lives in Rangoon or Yangon, and there are Hindu temples are also there, but they are all Indians, ethnic Indians who went during the British period. They are not ethnic, those locals nahi hai. Right. So Nagas live on both sides of the border, Mizos live on either side of the border. So there is always there in the interconnections between two countries, neighboring countries will be there. So there is no need to take up this Hindu wala issue anywhere there. So that completely deny that kind of stuff there. India opened Afghanistan people to come to India because they are facing persecution from Taliban. Right, not because they are Hindus, not because they are Sikhs. That is an argument, we should take it. Okay, so anyway, let Supreme Court come up with a decision. The government says Supreme Court has no locus standi on this issue. It is a policy decision, but Supreme Court has not so far accepted that argument. Supreme Court has not given any stay or anything like that also, but at the same time, government is not also going ahead with the deportation. They have asked all the state governments to take kind of census type of a thing of Rohingyas in their state. Only that thing is going on. The stock taking is going on. Still, the government has not forcibly deported anyone. So where will deport? That's a question mark. Bangladesh will not accept, Myanmar will not. See, the simple issue is the same deportation issue is there with Bengali speaking migrants in Assam. Right, after the Assam Accord in 1985, few of them have been identified also. Bangladesh says that they are not our citizens, we won't take it. So, so far nobody can be pushed back. How will you push back? You tell me how it is possible. It is like Doklam, you push from here, they will push from there. So how it is possible to deport? When the other country doesn't accept that they are citizens. If they are Myanmar citizens, Myanmar should accept. We have to prove that they are Myanmar citizens. We have illegally crossed over to India. Right? Myanmar says they are not our citizens. They are illegal people. That is why they are doing ethnic cleansing. How will they accept Rohingyas there? Right? So it is impossible to deport even also practically. It will only bring bad name to India in the international fora. 40,000, 50,000 people are not very big for a country of 130 crore people. They are a big drain on our economy or anything like that. India cannot say that. When we have got already, as I told you, lakhs of Tibetans and Sri Lankan refugees are living in India, we cannot tell that. But yes, in future we have to prevent such illegal migration. For that, better border control is needed. For example, Myanmar border is not fenced because of the terrain problems. The heavily forested terrain. And as I told you, there are ethnic connectivity on both sides of the border, Nagas and Mizos. For example, recently Mizoram said, right now under the bilateral agreement between Mizoram, India and Myanmar, 16 kilometers either side they can come without visa also. So they want to extend it to 60 kilometers. Our idea is to have more trading connections with Southeast Asia through Myanmar. So Mizoram has officially told the Home Ministry extend the 16 into 60 kilometers. Rajnath Singh visited some last month or so Mizoram ko. So they want more of an open border to have, because Mizos are living on either side of the border. That is why NSCN has camps on other side in Myanmar, because there is also that area is Nagas are there. So it is impossible to have a complete, like the same thing problem is there with the riverine tracts in Bangladesh. It's difficult to construct a fence. Same thing is true in the Himalayan areas with China or with Pakistan. How can you fence Mount Everest? Is it logical to talk about it, all those things, etc. there? So you have to see the cost benefit analysis out there, how much of money we have to spend, and it is also not possible. A snowstorm will destroy everything. Right? Can you fence Brahmaputra? Right, it is not possible. There are 55 rivers crisscrossing India and Bangladesh. So it is not possible to fence all these rivers. So there will be some amount of, you have to reduce it to the maximum extent possible through joint patrolling. Issues, things like joint patrolling. So those things have to be strengthened to prevent such migration of Rohingyas, both sides. They can come through directly through Mizoram side also, or through Bangladesh and then coming through India also. We need to strengthen the border patrolling along with both Myanmar and Bangladesh to prevent further immigration of Rohingyas into India. That's all, only thing that can be done. But they are facing persecution. They'll be killed if they go there to Myanmar. That's why they're fearing for their life, they have come here. And it's probably inhuman to turn people away. But take a middle stand in the exam. Okay, so now coming to the most important thing aspect, the around 15-16 questions every year coming in national polity governance issues में आ रहा है. So right to privacy. So is based on a strong philosophical moorings that every individual is sovereign over himself. Right. So it is also based on social contract theory. This individual is sovereign. Every individual has sovereignty over his own body and mind. So state cannot interfere in that. Sovereign over himself. Right. That's what J.S. Mill, John Stuart Mill में बोला है. Many of things starting from Aristotle time onwards, philosophers have supported the thing, social contract theory. We have come together to give up some of this thing, but the state unnecessarily cannot intrude. State has come to protect the life and property of people, cannot intrude into that. Right. So that is broadly accepted by everybody, Rousseau and all those things, etc. But it has now become complicated now. That is generally accepted in all democracies, that every person has a right to privacy. What is being done within the four walls of your house, your private space, state will not interfere. So on that, this is not a new concept. This concept is already there. Even last year also, Bombay High Court, one of the beef law of Maharashtra government has been struck down. Right? You can protect the cow slaughter in Maharashtra, but people are consuming within their house, the government cannot interfere with that based on right to privacy. They may source it from Goa, they may get it from online, they may ask from Amazon, say USA import karenge. What they do within the four walls, you cannot question it. In fact, most of the support to the LGBT community also comes from that. Sex is a private affair. So what is being done in bedroom, whether a person is having sex with opposite sex person or same sex or animal, it are up to them. It may be against the law of nature and all. Who are we to tell this is against? How would you know natural law? Nobody knows natural law. But it is a privacy issue. So nobody should interfere with the privacy issue. So this is a basic idea behind it. So this is common sense also. When you walk on the road, when you go to Shadi, you wear a particular dress. Right? So when you are at our home, when you are sleeping in the night, some people may like to sleep nanga also. That is their choice. So nobody, state cannot say that you must wear proper pant shirt while sleeping, etc. State cannot interfere into the bedroom of the people. So it cannot peep into the bedroom. That is the concept basically that a person has a right to do whatever he wants to do in his private space. State should not interfere. But the issue is not as simple as it is now because of the growing threat of security issues are coming up. For example, if you are plotting against, you are making bomb in your house, can the state say that no, I will not enter your house? So there has to be a balance between the community rights and individual rights. Social rights are also there. If you are doing some, you can say that mera computer hai, maine karida ho, so I am doing hate speech on that. No, we cannot allow that to happen. Right. Even though the Article 19, any of the 19s mein privacy is not specifically mentioned as such. Articles may mention nahi kiya, reasonable restrictions also, but reasonable restrictions may public order, morality and all are that broadly will cover, give the right, reasonable restrictions right to the state to interfere when these things are threatened. Unity of integrity of India, sovereignty of India, public order, morality. So those things maybe we have to violate the right to privacy. But as much as possible, state should stay away from that, interfering in the private life of the individuals. But now, but India में तो ऐसा specifically कहाँ भी नहीं है. So there have been lot of previous judgments have been there, but it have all been in a way in a way, in the beginning of our constitution, the interpretation was pretty not very liberal or broad. So many of the Supreme Court judgments, all 70s, 80s only, they started a more bigger interpretation, particularly Article 21 right to life ka. Uske pehle very narrow interpretation only has occurred. For example, Supreme Court accepted one of the provisions of Hindu Marriage Act. So it said restitution of conjugal rights. If the woman after marriage refuses to live with the husband can go to court for restoration of his conjugal rights. So sex is a basic thing. So it is being denied to be because my wife lives away from me. So the courts is a compulsory. She has to go back. Otherwise, they have to file for divorce. That will obviously take long time. She cannot live separately with the husband without husband's permission under the Hindu Marriage Act. Husband has a right to seek restoration of conjugal rights. Supreme Court said upheld this section. So it said because there is right to privacy of the women. Now we are not saying. Now we are saying that even a husband wife है तो sexual relations wife का permission पूछना है नहीं है तो rape है. ये आज का liberal interpretation of marital rape concept. Even though that is not yet still legal in India, but most of the countries में husband cannot claim conjugal right just because of marriage. Even if they are living together in the same house without a wife's permission, if the husband has sex, that is rape. That is not sex. So things change over a period of time. The interpretation of what is right to privacy, what is natural law, etc. Supreme Court said this is to protect family. That is the reason why this is there. They did not strike it down. It was struck down by Bombay High Court, but was restored by Supreme Court. So therefore, over a period of time, lot of changes have taken place in the thing. But Constitution indirectly respects right to privacy. Ambedkar said in the Constituent Assembly, individual is a basic unit of Constitution. Right? Individual is a basic unit of Constitution. In 2010, for example, modern era mein Supreme Court has also said without the permission of a person, narco analysis, brain mapping, etc. cannot be done by police, interrogation agencies. It's right to privacy. I have a right to protect myself. Self-incrimination is not possible under the Constitution. Narco analysis, brain mapping, etc. cannot be done without the permission of the person. Similarly, DNA, fingerprinting, all those things cannot be done. Even government has accepted it. That is why without their permission, informed consent, even test for HIV, AIDS, etc. cannot be done. So these are all protecting the but so far the biggest judgment, because we have to think only about the constitutional case judgments. Karak Singh case 1962 and MP Sharma case 1954 said very clearly that right to privacy doesn't exist under Indian Constitution. Right? So that is why now this is known as Puttasamy case. Puttasamy was a former judge of Karnataka High Court who challenged Aadhaar, that it violates right to privacy. So it was being heard by a 5-member constitutional bench. Then that bench referred it to a 9-member bench, because to overturn MP Sharma, that is a 8-member bench, you need a bigger bench. That is why 9-member bench was set up by a 5-member bench. So they delinked Aadhaar with the right to privacy. First, let us decide whether right to privacy exists in Indian law or not. If it is there only, then we can decide whether Aadhaar violates right to privacy. If a right to privacy doesn't exist, then even if Aadhaar violates right to privacy, it is not violation of constitutional principles. That is why, because already MP Sharma case was a 8-member judge benchable, so Supreme Court set up a 9-member bench in the Puttasamy case. Now it is a remarkable judgment because it is a unanimous judgment. All the 9 judges unanimously said right to privacy is a constitutional right. So this is a very liberal judgment, as Supreme Court. Right to dignity, many cases, previous cases may bole hain. Pardon? Yeah, fundamental rights. It enjoys now the rights. So there are many fundamental rights which are not explicitly given in part 3 of the Constitution, but all are broadly come under the umbrella article, Article 21. You cannot enjoy the right to life and property and enjoy provisions under 19, the freedoms, if you don't have article right to privacy. So it is implicit in the Constitution, but Supreme Court judgment has made it explicit. Right. It exists independently now. Supreme Court, for the first time in the Indian constitutional history, has said it is part of natural law. So therefore, whether constitution says or not, it is available to everybody. So therefore, this question is asked in ethics also, because ethics is always based on natural law. It is not merely based on constitution, only reflects what is natural law, what it should be there. So Supreme Court clearly said it is part of natural law. So that is a big quantum jump in our jurisprudence systems there. So now if we prove that it is part of natural law, then Supreme Court has to accept it that it is a fundamental right, even though it is not explicitly given in the constitution. And an important aspect of now this judgment is a couple of points what they brought in, which